We're calling to order the meeting of June 27th, 2023, Daytona Beach Shores, and we'll get started. Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Mayor Miller,
Here.
Vice Mayor Flores,
Here.
Commissioner Bryan,
Here.
Commissioner Cosmos,
Here.
Commissioner Blumenauer.
Here.
Thank you, Sherry. Reverend Bob? And please, either before or after you get started, tell us about what's going on at the Drive-In Christian Church tonight.
What's going on in our city tonight?
In our city, okay.
Another wonderful movie night.
The Minions.
Minions. So we are expecting millions of minions in our city, and we have some great sponsors bringing some good treats for the folks who come tonight, and looking forward to good turnout tonight. And Thursday night is Top Gun Maverick, so that ought to be a blockbuster.
And I believe tonight is at Ocean Lux that is bringing a bouncy house and finger painting and all of that. So, yeah, so it'll be fun. So anyone that's listening online or anyone here, if you
don't happen to be a bounce house person, maybe you know someone who is and can bring them along. Great, thanks for the opportunity to talk about that, and thanks again to the city for the great partnership for that.
we appreciate it. And I think we determined, we nailed it down that it's number 8. I feel
is
like I've been
year
saying
number
8 for
8.
several years, but Jan checked, Melissa checked, and it is number 8.
It is year 8.
Yes.
So,
Anyway,
thank you.
all right, stand.
I invite you to stand as we offer this invocation. O God of creation, God of justice and peace and liberty, as we approach the celebration of Independence Day for our nation, we give you thanks for the freedoms that we experience living in this land. We give you thanks for those who have paid great cost for those freedoms, to ensure them for us and for all, and especially for those who paid the greatest price with their lives to protect the freedoms that we enjoy. May we exercise those freedoms as we come into these chambers tonight, to speak freely about what is on our minds and what concerns us about government, to rejoice together in what is right and good about our community and our nation and our world. Rain down your wisdom and your blessing upon the leaders of this city who have been elected to represent its people and make decisions on their behalf. Give them wise counsel for the proceedings tonight. And receive our thanks for all who serve this city, be it in a volunteer way or a staff position or an elected official. Thank you for the service that we see among us. Continue to bring us together as neighbors and friends in this great place that we call home. We thank you in your holy name. Amen.
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 Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, this evening, a couple weeks ago, we had Finance Week. Today, we have Parks and Recreation Month. And I just want to read a proclamation that we have for the Parks and Rec. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Daytona Beach Shores, and whereas Parks and Recreation promote health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas as Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive, performance, and well-being, and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activity by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Park and Recreation increases a community economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Park and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient to the face of natural disasters and climate change. Whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and create recreation outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas Daytona Beach Shores recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore, I, Nancy Miller, by virtue of the authority vested me as mayor of the city of Daytona Beach Shores, do hereby declare the month of July as Parks and Recreation Month in the city of Daytona Beach Shores. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of this city to be affixed, and dated today, June 27, 2023. And would our Parks and Recreation Director like to come up and receive? You share the honor. Anyway, thank you for our lovely parks that we have, our very well-maintained parks. Hold this up, please. Is the chief going to get a picture?
He's going to get a picture, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, next we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. We'll take these separately. The first one is the City Commission minutes dated June 13th, 2023. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussions of those minutes from that meeting? Okay, if not, Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Conrose,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pelaez,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we'll go on to the workshop that was held on the same evening, June 13th, 2023. Motion to accept those minutes?
So move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that workshop? If not, Sherry, take a roll on that, please.
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Conrose,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pelaez,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we'll go on to the consent agenda. On that this evening, we have 3 items. Do I hear a motion to accept that report as is without pulling any of those 3 items?
Also move.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on any of the 3 items? Not, Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Commissioner Conrose,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pelaez,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we're going to go on to old business. The first one would be ordinance 2023-04, a voluntary annexation. Can you read that for us, please, Attorney Vost?
Yes, Madam Mayor. This is ordinance number 2023-04, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, relating to voluntary annexation of real property located at 3038 South Peninsula Drive, short parcel identification number 5334-02-02-0160, together with associated rights-of-way in accordance with Section 171.044 Florida statutes, providing for legislative and administrative findings, redefining the boundaries of the city, providing for a legal effect in implementing administrative actions, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and setting an effective date.
this correct? This is the second reading?
This is second reading, and I can present if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry. This is ordinance 2023-04. This is a voluntary annexation request for the property at 3038 South Peninsula Drive. The owners are Charles and Patricia Register. This isn't a trust, but those are the property owners. It's approximately 0.496 acres and is an existing single-family home that will continue as a single-family home just in the city limits. This is just a map of the property. You can see the green is the city limits of Daytona Beach Shores, so this is contiguous on the north side. Our notice requirements have been met, and staff is recommending approval of ordinance 2023-04 as presented. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone in the audience wish to talk about 2038 South Peninsula Drive?
3038.
I'm sorry, 3038, thank you. 3038 South Peninsula Drive. Okay, if not, do I hear a motion to accept?
I move we accept.
I'll
Second?
second it.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, do we have the residents in the audience today?
I don't believe so. They may be listening online, though.
Okay, great. All right. Well, welcome to the Shores. We are glad to have you. If there's no other comments on this, Sherry, can you take a roll on it, please?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Condos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Flores?
I have a question, Madam City Clerk. I know the family, and I'm very close to their daughter, and they're just really sweet people. Am I okay to vote?
You are.
Yes. Okay, well, I am okay to vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, then I vote yes.
Great, thank you. Yes, thank you very much. And again, welcome to the residents, our new residents. We're glad to have you in the Shores. Okay, next we'll move on to ordinance 2023-05, voluntary annexation, 3040 South Peninsula Drive. Attorney Weiss, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, this is ordinance number 2023-05, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, relating to voluntary annexation of real property located at 3040 South Peninsula Drive, short parcel identification number 5334-02-02-0130, together with associated rights-of-way in accordance with section 171.044 Florida statutes, providing for legislative and administrative findings, redefining the boundaries of the city, providing for legal effect in implementing administrative actions, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and setting an effective date.
Thank you. Noel?
Good evening, Noelle Eaton, City Planner. This is ordinance 2023-05. This is just the voluntary annexation request of the property to the south of the last one. The property owners are Charles and Brandy Steffi, and it's approximately 0.64 acres, a little larger than the last one, but it still is a single-family home and will continue to have that use. This is just, again, the aerial showing that it's just the one property to the south, so as this last ordinance just passed, now we're contiguous on the north. Our notice requirements have been met, and staff is recommending approval of ordinance 2023-05 as presented.
Okay, great. Again, a second reading. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add from the audience for 3040 South Peninsula? Okay, if not, do I hear a motion to accept ordinance 2023-05?
I so move.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And are these residents here today? Okay, well, if they are online, we welcome you to the Shores. We are glad to have you here. And if no further discussion, Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Vice Mayor Flores?
These people I don't know, but I'm sure they're nice, so I'm going to vote yes.
Commissioner Lindauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Condos?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you very much. Again, welcome to the Shores. We are so glad to have you here. Okay, next, we're going to go on to new business. So consideration of the voting delegate for an annual conference. If it's been like the past 3 or 4 years, Commissioner Bryan, you usually make a motion and you usually nominate the same person unless you'd like to change it to yourself.
No, I'll nominate Mel. There's no reason to fire him. He's done a good job.
So again, you know, this is when we go to our annual conference in August, this would be someone that would be representing our city for a couple of the votes. They have a couple of votes that day, don't they? Yes, okay. Where everyone gets together. So do we need a consensus on this?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we got a vote. Do I hear a motion to accept that vote, the Commissioner Bryan?
I so move.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, any discussion on Mel being, is this your 4th year? Did you say, all right, 4th year?
Where's Mel going?
Orlando, it switches every year from Orlando down to somewhere around Miami. So,
Wonderful.
Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Vice Mayor Flatus?
Yes.
Commissioner Condos?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer?
I abstain.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I accept them.
So we're going to go on to new business, and at our last meeting, Vice Mayor was not here, but we did have a quorum, and we were interviewing for an alternate member on the Planning and Zoning Board. We only interviewed, at that time, there was only one applicant. So do I hear a motion to accept that person? It's Chris Pollard for an alternate member.
Also move.
Thank you.
I'll second it enthusiastically.
Thank you. Do we need any discussion whatsoever? Okay. If not, then Sherry, can you take a roll before we congratulate him?
Commissioner Condos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Flatus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you very much. Chris, welcome. We are very, very glad to have you. Is there a couple
Thank
words
you,
you'd like
Chris.
to say?
Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with all of you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, so I knew it was going to be a short meeting this evening, but we have a couple of things. I know our city manager has a couple of things that he'd like to talk to us about. And then I have some really good news when it comes to my council comments. So first we'll go to our city attorney. Attorney Voice, do you have anything for us?
Nothing tonight, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, city manager?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'm going to do something a little bit different for the report. I've got a very short PowerPoint,
Okay.
and we're going to try doing the clicker from up here this time.
And Chris is on the backup just in case it doesn't work?
Yes.
Finger at the ready.
So in the last month and a half, we've had a few awards at the city, and I'd like to recognize those folks. I know that most of the commission and myself and a lot of staff were able to attend the recent Volusia League of Cities dinner, the annual awards dinner, and we had 2 big award winners. And I need that backup technology.
The test run worked fine.
There we go. So I'd like to acknowledge publicly, I know the commission is aware of it, but our mayor, Nancy Miller, was awarded the elected official of the year, and Nancy Maddox was the Economic Enrichment Award. And these are both extremely well-deserved. I know Nancy Maddox does a lot of things behind the scenes and does not get a lot of recognition for the things she does for the city and on behalf of our citizens. So, Mayor, congratulations, and Nancy, congratulations. They had their awards that night. I did not ask them to bring them in. We also have 2 hometown heroes. The Florida League of Cities has a Hometown Heroes program, and these are the folks that go above and beyond to advocate on behalf of the city. And I'm proud to announce that the mayor has received it now 2 years in a row, and Commissioner Richard Bryan is 3 years in a row.
All right, there you go.
And this is the first year, and unfortunately, Lori apparently has not made it back from her conference yet. She was over in Orlando for the annual FGFOA conference, but the city has been awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year 2021. This is a program put on by the Government Finance Officers Association, and you have to submit your financial report. There's a whole set of criteria, so I just wanted to congratulate Lori and her finance team on receiving that. They receive a very nice plaque, which I was going to present, but Lori's not here. So in future years, we'll get an additional medallion for each year. The city has received this award in the past, but it's probably been 15 years or so since we've applied for it. As a former finance director, I think it's a pretty prestigious award to receive, so.
Wonderful.
Another group that does things like Nancy behind the scenes that a lot of our community doesn't see, and I try and recognize those folks. That's it. I'm going to leave the PowerPoint up because there's some things the mayor asked me to be able to show folks during your comments.
Right, exactly. We also talk about, I know we got permission for me to attend, but can we go into a little bit more detail, or was that later on about the accreditation that you and I are going for the next couple of days?
Oh, I was going to mention it at the next meeting, but we can go into, yes. So,
Sorry.
actually,
We'll have pictures at the next meeting.
yes, what I'd like to do is have the chief come up and talk about the accreditation conference.
And Chief, I understand your team got pizza today courtesy of the Shores?
Yes, yeah, Shores Resort and Spa brought pizza, expressed their gratitude for our wonderful staff and the service that they provide. Mayor, I'm afraid, I hope you haven't jinxed us, because they don't vote until Thursday to fully give us our accreditation.
Oh.
So,
Tell 'em
2
what we
weeks from now, I might be very embarrassed at the same podium, but I don't expect that to be the case. We have received our copy of the report from the Florida Commission of Accreditation. I expect that they will be affirming us on Thursday with the mayor and the manager in attendance. We are on their consent agenda. Our report came back with no objections and no issues. So hopefully in 2 weeks I'll be able to tell you that we are again an Excelsior member.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
For rushing it. Okay, city manager, do you have something else for us?
Two other things real quick. You have before you the updated non-conforming sign list. We have, it looks like 8 that have been issued notice of violations, and they are going through the code enforcement process. So we'll keep you updated on that. We're down to a very small number.
Great, that's fantastic news.
And if you have driven south of City Hall today, you know that A1A is under construction because they have started the Park crosswalk. So that's what's happening there. It's going to be a lit intersection similar to Publix. But I believe they're also adding some lighting near the sidewalk for better nighttime walking there. So I'm excited that project's underway. I'm going to reach out and get an update from DOT on the other ones that we have outstanding. There was ABC is supposed to be lit up, and then one down at Seaspray is supposed to be added. So I don't have an update on those, but I will get one on that.
And we knew that the one by Treasure Island was not going to be until something came into that place, so that one's okay. So basically, there's just 2 that are outstanding, and you and I were both surprised. I mean, this has been on the list for quite a while. Got no really forward warning, just all of a sudden, we'll be there next week, right? So
Exactly, yeah. We received an email last week that basically said, hey, we're starting Monday with like 3-day notice, so but it started.
Okay.
making progress.
The one at Peck, I want to give special recognition to Billy Wheeler for. She was very instrumental in getting that park named after Edwin Peck Sr. And then she knew the need that we would need a crosswalk there too, and reached out to DOT. So
Absolutely.
Billy, if you're listening, your legacy goes on. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Okay, and can we step back since our finance director came in and maybe?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right. We missed it by 30 seconds.
So, Lori, congratulations. I gave the whole speech about the award and what it means, but if we can, Nancy, can you?
And actually, that's where I've been.
Yeah, she's been at the annual conference for this down in Orlando, so let's.
Congratulations,
Thank
Ruth.
you.
Thank you for.
Thank you to all of you.
This wouldn't be without you. And all the ladies.
Did you have anything else before I move on?
No, that was all, Madam Mayor.
Okay, any questions for anything that our city manager discussed? Okay, next we'll go on to council comments. So I had a little bit of a good news. Do you have a photo up there? All right, so normally, Chief, what do we go every 2 weeks? We take a ride on the beach, you know, just to see what the progress is, talk to some of the people on the beach, some of the workers, and we saw some very, very, not ugly structures, but I just hated to have the looks at them. As we went more towards the south of the city, we saw something that looked like this. And, you know, for the beams that they put up, look what a wonderful job they did coordinating. So if you are any of the properties that are getting your seawall replaced and you have anything similar like that. So this one's the flamingo, is that right, Chief? Do you think that one? I think this was the flamingo, and they have brown on their side. So again, they tried to color coordinate what they did, but look at how beautiful that looks with the two different colors of teal. So I just wanted to show you this is what it's looking like. Look at the progress it's made. Just so excited to see that, and I'm happy we're moving along. Not everything looks like that. I wish that I could say everyone was that far along. They are not, but there's a lot of activity on the beach. We get a report every Tuesday, and city manager, so we had one more approved, 4 completed, is that correct?
Yeah, so one more permit, as of the report today, one more permit issued, I believe that was the Dream Inn, and 4 more that moved to complete, which means they should be issued. That means they have all the information they need.
Just a signature.
And pending final review, but it means it's gone through the process. It just takes the state time to complete that. So those 4 should be issued soon as well.
And I think last week or 2 weeks ago, we told you we were about 90% of the ones that did submit applications. We were about a 90% approval rate for Daytona Beach Shores. But I would think we'd be about 92 now, somewhere around in that range.
Around that, and I did send an updated spreadsheet this afternoon of all the properties that have submitted and those that have not applied for anything.
Okay, great. So you can tell we're making real progress. But if you get a chance to go down the beach, go to this property. If you see anybody that you know, was it blue-green?
Yeah, that's blue-green.
That's blue-green. So you've probably been down there, Commissioner, and you've seen what a great job they've done and how good that looks. So the second thing that I wanted to, was that the only photos there was?
Yes, that was the only photos.
So the second thing I want to talk about, I want to assure you that I'm not dropping the ball on anything trying to reach out to get us additional money here. So there is a Hurricane Restoration Reimbursement Grant. I've talked about this several times. So it's $150,000, and that is for residential properties. This includes condos. If you have receipts and they total $300,000, you could be able to be reimbursed for $150,000. I try to reach out to them every 2 weeks and say, how are we doing? How much money's left? Any new updates? So the last time that I reached out to them, this is the Department of DEP, I was told that it was going to end on June 30th. So if you had not submitted by June 30th, you would not be able to get this money. Two good things happened. The first thing is this has been extended till July 1st, 2024. Fantastic news. But the best part is it's now $300,000 that you can get if you have $600,000 in receipts. But now, that doesn't mean you'd have to have the 600. If you have 500,000 receipts, they'll reimburse you up to 250. Again, this is a first come, first serve. That Kurt and I thought by noon on the next day, all the money would be gone. And was that February 28th? So it started March 1st? Somewhere around in there.
I think it was February 1st, actually. February 1st, yeah.
No, I think it was March, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, we were so afraid that it was going to be, and so right now, they still have about 70% of the money still there.
And what entity, I'm sorry, would reimburse?
Oh, it's a DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, so please.
Residential or residential and commercial?
Just residential.
That's what I thought.
Just
Okay,
residential.
thank you.
But all of the condos fall under this. So any of the properties, the single-family homes that we have and any of the condos. So that is fantastic news. If you have $500,000 of receipts, you're eligible for up to $250,000 to be reimbursed. I know several condos that have gotten up to the 150. So this is a resubmission. You'd have to resubmit with your new receipts. It's going to go into effect July 1st, but I wanted to just jump the gun and let you know about that. So I'm just so excited about that program. That is going to help so many of our condos and single-family homes. So that was all I wanted to tell you to do. So it pays to follow up because I don't know when we would have known about that. And I really, anyone that's listening online, but City Manager and I have repeated this over and over and over again. This is a free program. There's some things out there like the SBA, there is an interest rate on it. There's some that you have to put money in. This is not like this. If you have the receipts, this is a free program. This is money that Governor DeSantis has set aside for this program, so please take advantage of it. So is there any questions on that before I move on to comments for anyone else? Fantastic news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so Commissioner Bryan, anything else going on with the seawalls or any other news you have for us?
Yeah, I've been, over the last few days, carefully looking at about 165 coastal properties. In my opinion, about 60 of them are likely or very likely not to have permanent armoring by the middle of August. It's possible we'll have a very mild hurricane season and people will skate by. I don't think that's something, or a property owner, I wouldn't depend on that. So if I'm even close to right about the 60, then those 60 properties need to be thinking about temporary armoring that's going to likely get them through the hurricane season.
Can I clarify a little bit? So we talked about, of the properties in Daytona Beach Shores, about 90 to 92% of them have issued permits. So how could we have 60 properties?
Well, having a permit and having a seawall are two different things. If you're out there without permanent armoring, waiving the permit's not going to do you any good. There are a number of reasons why people are not likely to have permanent armoring, including just supply and demand. The engineers have been overbooked for a long time. Contractors are essentially overbooked. And some people just haven't done much at all of anything. So, that the 60 is somewhat speculative. I'd be the first to admit that. But the number is going to be pretty large. And it's really kind of almost past time to be contemplating getting the appropriate temporary armoring in place, because it's important to protect the properties, not just for the property itself, but for their neighbors. If the neighbors don't have sufficiently long return walls, they can get eroded by the fact that the neighbors don't have sufficient armoring.
So these are people that, you had to have an engineer to apply for this, is that correct? for DEP permit?
No. The, sort of the start of this temporary armoring, the 2 trap bags put out by the county, there aren't that many properties in the shores. I haven't counted them. I did write down who had the 2 trap bags. But the county will say that those 2 trap bags are only minimal protection. So if we get any kind of significant weather, they're not going to protect against erosion, of the properties.
So our message to them is the county gave you 2 trap bags, you should probably be about getting that 3rd row?
Yeah, if they're on this 60, or if there are some, like this property here, the blue-green property up there, I think that was the first one that was actually complete. Not necessarily complete to this extent, but they had the seawall up without.
So they were proactive, in other words?
Yeah, they were proactive, but they also spent a lot of money. I mean, so part of whether you're done or not was how much you were willing to pay a premium to get to be first in line, or to get a large contractor to do it. So, that's the message. The property owners, most property owners aren't even thinking about temporary armoring, but they should be.
Certainly.
And as I've mentioned several times, the county is actually in the best position to install the 3rd trap bag, regardless of who pays for it. Just because they've already installed the 2 trap bags, they have quantity prices for the trap bags themselves. They have sources of sand, and they have the labor, the contracted labor that's been doing the 2 trap bags. I don't know what the percentage between the 2 trap bags are. Do you have any idea, Kurt? I don't know that there are a lot more places in the shores that are supposed to give 2 trap bags.
No, I would imagine most of them, because that was a good 2 months ago that we went around for those easements. So the message to everyone is, my message really is, Richard, don't wait for someone to come along and do it for you. We're in hurricane season. Thank you. We're in hurricane season. You see what happened to yourself and to your neighbors. So do whatever you can to at least get the temporary armament. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lindauer?
Yes, I didn't mention this earlier because Lori wasn't here, our finance director. But on the detailed budget report that we get every month, one line just jumped right out at me, and I have to report this, and kudos to both our finance director and our city manager. Last year, our year-to-date interest was $9,789. That's what we earned. Last year, the interest that we earned with our surplus money was $9,789. This year, year-to-date, is $387,166, an increase of $377,377, or an increased percentage of $3,855 or 55.09%. So kudos to them for following up on a suggestion, and now our city using the surplus funds and investing them properly, safely with U.S. Treasuries, we're on line to approach $1 million a year. And this means $1 million that the taxpayers don't have to pay. So kudos to both.
Great, thank you very much. And I know that you and Commissioner Bryan were very instrumental in pointing these out, and we appreciate it, and even more so that I hear the numbers. Thank you very much.
I think it's great that Kurt and Lori don't operate on the not invented here theory. They took a suggestion, followed up on it, and it's paying off. So kudos to both of them.
Right, thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Commissioner Economist?
I do not have any comments.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor?
I attended the TPO meeting before I was on a sabbatical for 2 weeks. There was a funding shortage out of the legislature. Governor DeSantis didn't give us everything that we wanted, but they're still going to do the US 195 overpass, and that will be at least a 5-year project, if not longer. The consensus from the TPO was that developers will now probably have a more financial obligation to do roads and improvements and extra lanes because of this funding shortage. But there was an interesting increase in more trails, more reserves and like reserve parks and stuff. So you could see that there's a lot of interest in trying to preserve the integrity of the ecosystem and stuff. It was really a really nice consensus among all the members, even though we don't have a vote. And then lastly is, I did have a contact with that lady from DEP or DOT to talk to our city manager about crosswalk consistency, so that one in Ponce doesn't look different than the one in the Shores, it doesn't look in the one in Daytona. So they're hopefully all going to be lighted with warning beams and the crosswalks and the signage, so that way it increases the likelihood someone's not going to get hurt.
So every crosswalk will be.
They're working on that.
Oh, okay.
They're working on that, because what happens is they've made them in different years, and they had different standards or different things. So they're really looking at visiting it, because there are a lot of people who violate it, a lot of people that get hurt. And so they're looking at trying to create some consistency.
Okay, great.
And I'm going to attend the TPO meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, at the airport. So I'll be there.
Good, thank you. And do you have any update on Pioneer Exchange? Did that go through? Is that a-
Yes, it did go through. So when it will be created is another story.
Definitely.
But they did approve that. That one, LPGA and I-95 and US 1 are all the three that have been approved. Now it's a matter of which will get funded and which one will be priority. But the consensus is, because they said US 1 and I-95 is the oldest one in Florida. So that's the one they're going to work on first.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate you attending and representing the city.
My pleasure.
Our recreation director, can you tell us a little bit about our concert coming up on Friday, June 30th?
Good evening, Mayor. Yes, it's a new band called Time, T-H-Y-M-E. So, hopefully everyone will enjoy them. And, seems like, we've gotten reviews already, so I'm looking forward to it.
And this is a non-food truck, so it won't start until, is it 6 or 6:30? 6:30. Okay, thank you. Any other comments before we go on to audience remarks? Okay, and the only one I have today is my friend Kristen Johansson. Come on up.
Good evening, Commissioners. Kristen Johansson, I'm here representing the Port Orange South Daytona Chamber of Commerce as a member of their Board of Directors. And we want to thank you all so much for the city's partnership and support for the grand reopening recently of our Chamber Annex here in Daytona Beach Shores. It was a very, very well-attended event last Friday, and you all were instrumental in helping make that work, and we appreciate it very much. And I just want to say to anyone who's listening that the purpose of that new office, along with welcoming visitors to the area and providing them area information, is also going to be an opportunity for some of our member businesses to have co-working space, to be able to showcase their business, meet with clients, hold small group meetings on a regular schedule, covering like 4-hour shifts. So we're going to man that facility with our small businesses in the area. So we have signups through the chamber. They just need to reach out to the chamber to sign up for a 4-hour shift, Monday through Friday from 10 to 1 or 1 to 4 p.m.
Great idea.
So we really hope that that will serve both the community and our small businesses at the same time. In addition, a couple events we have coming up. Our morning mix and mingle. Our next one is coming up on Friday, July 7th from 8 to 9 in the morning at the Gallery at Port Orange, a senior living facility. If you haven't been there, I've been told it's beautiful and certainly worth a visit. So we hope you'll join us. Our annual golf tournament is on July 15th, and there's still spots available as well. And finally, Leadership 2023 is in the planning stages, and applications are open and available. So we encourage anyone that has members of their businesses or their staffs to encourage people to sign up to be part of the leadership class this fall.
Is there any charge for that leadership program?
There is indeed. This year's fee is $495. It is a 9-week program, maybe 9 or 10-week program that starts on September 11th.
And, you know, I think myself and the city manager have spoken at it every year at your graduation, and great bunch of people, and they're just so enthusiastic.
It is a terrific program. I know I'm a graduate of the class of 2016, and it was a great introduction for me to our community, and I've been part of the leadership planning ever since, so it served me well.
Great. And Kristen, can you tell us a little bit about the event a couple weeks ago that we met those fantastic youth, that they had the mock commission meeting?
So,
what group was that?
So we also, along with having an adult leadership program that runs in the fall, we host a youth civic leadership experience, which is a 1-week high school leadership program every June for the first week after school lets out. And this was our 6th year running it, and you all actually were fantastic participants. Mayor Miller came and participated on Government Day, and we had our students run through a mock city council meeting. We had 19 students, and they were debating the merits of having an increased curfew in the city of Port Orange. So it was a fantastic debate, and we appreciate your input very much. And it was a great group of kids. So it's a great program. I encourage anybody that knows high schoolers to encourage them to apply next spring for that June program.
They did a fantastic job, and it gave me hope for our future when I saw them and saw how committed they were and the time that they put into it.
Well, thanks for your support very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kristen. Any items for the agenda for next meeting? Okay, if not, then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.